Hello and welcome to Lamplighter. Today is April 1. It is April Fool's Day, and no fooling, you've already made it 1/4 of the year through the Daily Bible Reading Challenge. Once again, I offer you my congratulations. Let's keep going. Let's continue to dig. Let's continue to read. Let's continue to think together. And let's continue to learn more and more about this God of creation who is sovereign over all of his creation, not only in the days of the Old Testament or even in the days of the New Testament, but even still today. We serve a wonderful God. And remember, as I've been reminding us all the way through this process, this is his story. The story is about God. Today in our reading, we start to see David taking on more and more of a role in Saul's kingship. Now remember, Samuel has already anointed David to be the next king of Israel, but the time for his taking over the kingship has still not yet come. In the meantime, Saul has employed David in his own cabinet, so to speak, or in his own kingdom, to play the harp for him when he's troubled by an evil spirit that has been sent to him from God because of his rebellion, his lack of obedience, his constant rationalizations to go against the will of God. Now, today we read that Saul's own son, Jonathan, really loves David. He loves him as he loves himself, the text says, and Jonathan and David begin a very deep friendship. They look out for one another, they care for each other, they want to protect each other, and that's going to play a significant role in the events that are about to transpire. So David and Jonathan become friends, and then we read that David is having great success in everything he does for Saul in his kingdom. As a matter of fact, the language to me was a little bit reminiscent of the descriptions that we got earlier of Joseph, where everything that Joseph did, no matter what had happened to him, Joseph found great success. He prospered because God was with him. And there were people around Joseph that noticed that Joseph was prospering because God was with him. The same is true and the same is said of David in today's reading. Everything David does, every assignment he's given, he's very successful. Why? Because he's a man after God's heart and because God is blessing him. God is with him in everything that he's doing. Well, the people start to recognize this as well, and David's popularity increases. The people start to sing a song. Saul has slain his thousands. David has slain his tens of thousands. And rather than being excited about all the joy the people are feeling toward his kingship and his kingdom, Saul becomes very jealous of David. Now, David continues to be a great commander in military strategies and in battles because, once again, God is blessing him and giving him success. Saul decides it's time to do something about this David. His popularity is getting too great. People are looking to him rather than to Saul, and Saul's jealousy is burning up deep within him, getting stronger and stronger each day. So Saul starts trying to find some way to attack David. He tries first to give David his oldest daughter as his wife, and David won't take her because he feels unworthy to be the king's son-in-law. But Saul wants to use his daughter to try to distract David. That doesn't work, and so a little bit later, he discovers that Michal, his other daughter, has an affection for David, so he wants to give Michal to David as his wife. David, again, doesn't want her because he doesn't want to be the king's son-in-law. He feels unworthy. But when Saul sets a price for her and David is able to fulfill it, then Michal becomes his wife. And now Saul is hoping that Michal will be a bit of a distraction for David. He can put David at the front lines in battle, and the Philistines will take care of him and kill him. But again, everything that David touches turns to gold, so to speak. Saul then finally realizes that David is successful because the Lord is with him, and he knows the Lord is not with him himself anymore. Not only is David successful because the Lord is with him, but Saul also sees that his own daughter, Michal, truly loves David. It seems like everything is stacked against Saul, or at least from his own perspective. So Saul tries to kill David while David's playing the harp for him to settle his nerves, to calm down this evil spirit that's troubling him. Saul picks up his spear, throws it at David, and tries to pin him against the wall with it. Saul threatens that he's going to finally annihilate David. Jonathan hears of it. Jonathan loves David as he loves himself, remember? And so he defends David to his father. He tells his father, you have no business to feel this way because David has only brought you great success. He defeated Goliath with the Lord's help. He has been a great commander in your armies. Look at all that he's done for Israel, is the plea that Jonathan makes. And so Saul relents and decides that Jonathan is right, and he agrees that he will not kill David. But there's very little time that passes until Saul renews his jealousy, and again, he tries to kill David. He throws his spear at him. David escapes. Then Saul sends men to David's house. They're going to lay in wait, kind of an ambush, to take David's life. David is aware of it. Michal is aware of it, so Michal helps him escape. When the men come into the house to capture David, she has placed a decoy, an idol in the bed with some hair there to look like a person sleeping, and deceives them long enough for David to make his escape. This really infuriates Saul because his own daughter is working against him, and David recognizes his escape has been made possible because of the hand of God. The editor of the Bible we're using, F. LaGard Smith, has inserted here Psalm 59. It's a psalm that David writes when Saul has sent men to surround his house, where David is praying to God, crying out to God for strength to be able to evade their capture. Now, Saul later finds out David has made his escape. He's gone to Samuel, and David and Samuel are prophesying. Saul sends some men to capture David, and they start to prophesy. He sends another group of men, and they start to prophesy. He sends a third group of men, and they start to prophesy. Nothing is working for Saul, so he goes himself, and he starts to prophesy. Why do you think this happens? Why are we told all of this? Because the story is not about Saul, remember? God is in control of this whole situation, and every plan of Saul to kill David is thwarted. Now, David gets frustrated. He's wondering, why is Saul trying to kill me? I've done absolutely nothing to him. I've done nothing wrong. I've only given him great success in his military conquests. And so he's whining about this a little bit to Jonathan, and he and Jonathan decide to make a covenant together. Jonathan says, I won't let my father kill you. I will warn you so that if he's angry enough to kill you, you'll have plenty of time to make your escape. So they come up with this covenant and a plan for warning. Part of the plan is, while they go to the New Moon Festival, Jonathan is going to be sitting there with his father when his father is going to notice David is not present. He'll feel out his father. Is he going to be angry about that? David was not there for the first day of the feast. The second day of the feast, however, Saul starts to get angry. He says, where is David? Jonathan says, oh, David asked for permission to be gone because his family back in Bethlehem is offering a sacrifice and he needs to be there with them. And Saul becomes violently angry. And when Jonathan this time tries to defend him, Saul says, I know you. I know who you are, and I know that you are defending David. I know how you care about him. You're on his side, so to speak. And Saul gets so angry that he throws his spear at his own son, Jonathan. Then Jonathan knows this is bad news. So he goes out and gives David a warning. He shoots arrows beyond the boy that has gone out there with him to fetch the arrows, and he gives the signal to David that his father is angry, that his father is trying to kill him, and David needs to make his escape. And so David and Jonathan have to part from this friendship. And it's this friendship that God uses to help David's life to be spared from the anger of King Saul. There is still so much more to unfold in this saga that we'll continue to see in future readings. But the bottom line that we must keep coming back to is this. David is the anointed of God. David is a man after God's heart. David is a man for whom God has great plans, and these plans are not going to be spoiled or thwarted by Saul's jealousy or by anyone else. And so David is protected by God. David is shielded by God. God uses Jonathan. God uses Michal, two of Saul's own children, to protect David, to make sure that David is safe and David is able to prepare himself for the kingship that is yet to follow. It's an amazing story about God. It's an amazing story about how nothing gets in the way of the plan of God. And as we always say, the same is still true today. God's plan can't be stopped. You and I are privileged to be a part of that plan. Let's feel his love. Let's feel his protection and his shielding of us, because he has big plans for you and for me as well. Isn't it great to be a lamplighter? His word is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. I hope you have a blessed day.